Hi everybody, I hope you're all doing well. So I thought this would be a good day to take a look at the sixes in the minor arcana. Let's start with the wands and the Rider-Waite-Smith deck. And so we have a man here on a horse, and there are several people behind him cheering him on. He's wearing a wreath on his head, and his wand is decorated with the laurel wreath. So, everything about this card shows victory and success. That laurel wreath holding the meaning of victory. In the Tarot of Dreams, different scene, but the same idea of victory here. Also, we have Jupiter in Leo. So Jupiter, you're always going to think about something being expanded here. Leo, of course, is ruled by the sun, power and fire, but also has a little bit idea of the ego. So, sort of your success or your ego is being expanded, but you want to be careful here that it is not overdone. So, very nicely done in this deck. I pulled out a couple different decks. This is a deck I've had, I don't know, many years. It's called the Victorian Romantic, and it's, just different scenes, and it's very beautiful. So again, the idea of success there. This is from the Wild Unknown. Now, as you know, the cards in this deck are very simple, but they give just the right amount of symbolism to help you understand what's going on. And with that rainbow there, you can get the idea that we're talking about of success. And this is the Hesychos Tarot, and it's just very summery and very kind of watercolory, and so I did pull that one out. And very whimsical as well. You see a lot of movement there. It's fun and happy. Okay, now in the Ludi Lescott, we have a woman here descending a staircase. Behind her on the wall, you'll see pictures and photographs, perhaps of people that she knows, like friends and loved ones. But as she's descending that staircase, she is looking ahead, like she's looking at us. So she's finally having an emotional victory and feeling that she's able to now engage with the people in her life rather than just memories or maybe even virtual type friends. So very nicely done. And in the Sevenfold Mystery, we have here it's like an artisan or a craftsperson, and they are being given accolades for their work. In the Thoth, the simple keyword here is victory. And also the Vision Quest uses the same keyword. So, that is a very very straightforward look at that card. So let's take a look at the Pentacles. And let's see what kind of balance we're achieving here. So we see a man here holding scales. And the scales do appear to be balanced. And he is giving, it's a charitable act here. He is giving to people that are in need. He feels that he has enough where he can give. And let's take a look at the Tarot of Dreams. This is interesting. Okay, he's giving here a symbol of Libra. And Libra, of course, is represented by scales. But these scales are not even here. And I think that's interesting because, sometimes try hard as we might to balance something out, we can't always achieve that exact state of balance. Or sometimes even in a relationship, there might be one person who's always doing the giving and sort of, creating an imbalance that maybe they're not yet aware of because they're such a giver by nature. So when we look at the astrological assignments here, it says Moon in Taurus. So that's giving us an opportunity to look at how we perceive our earthly belongings and maybe change our perceptions a little bit. The Victorian Romantic. Just a very lovely painting there. A woman buying some flowers from the little girl. In the Wild Unknown. Once again, very simple. And I would say, really does give an idea of balance there. The Hesychos, you see three, I guess they're little elves on maple trees. It's kind of neat because their wings are are from the pods from the maple trees. And they are just taking their time on a nice summer's day and seem to be counting out their version of money and balancing it between themselves. In the Ludi Lescott. So here we have a woman who is wearing a black veil. So she is grieving. She's in some sort of grief. And even though it is a difficult time for her, she still is giving. You'll see she's giving to these children here. So even when times are difficult, it is still appropriate to be charitable when necessary in that deck there. So in the Sevenfold Mystery, that's very different because usually you'll see the children more in the Cups suit. But here he's bringing in a child, even in the Pentacles. It does kind of bring an idea of like a genuine feeling, an innocence. You know, to genuinely be giving. And in the Thoth, his key word here is success. You see, everything is balanced out. A real change from, you know, the fives and the difficulty. So now bringing that extra pentacle and what we've learned from the fives now has brought us success. And in the Vision Quest, it says breakthrough. So we have now a breakthrough. All right, so let's do the swords. And the card of clarity, of mental clarity. So here we see a man, he is rowing this boat, and we have appears to be a woman and a child. Now, interesting that they are covered. So already I'm getting the feeling that, you know, this journey is one that requires maybe some caution. You know, you're not being so bold and loud, but, you know, really maybe a little more introspective. Of course, this is the air suit. So this journey is a journey of the mind and achieving clarity of the mind. You see how, you know, there are some ripples here, but this water here, our unconscious mind is nice and quiet where we're journeying toward. Okay. In the Tarot of Dreams, this really has an ethereal feel, so it does bring about that idea of the unconscious mind. You can see they're passing through an archway here, almost like they're crossing from one world to the next. Wearing a mask, and there seems to be a mask here on the boat too, almost guiding them on their journey. You know, it really does give me the idea of that journey of the unconscious. So we have Mercury in Aquarius. Well, Mercury does have to do with our mental state and our thoughts, also movement, and that Aquarius, that inspiration. So, you know, through this process of this mental clarity, perhaps some real flash of insight or inspiration will come as well. In the Victorian Romantic, it's that peaceful, calm water there. The Wild Unknown. It's a nice use of the butterfly for the air suit there. Okay, in the Hesychos, this is just so colorful and fun. You really can see here in this card all of the, you know, this part of the water is so lively and kind of noisy, you know, that background noise that we're moving away from, because, and then here, where we're heading towards is so calm and quiet. You can really see the difference there. In the Ludi Lescott, so this man here, you know, he's not on the ship yet. He's sort of packed and ready to go. He's got his swords here, in a pack. Interesting, they put the infinity symbol here at his feet. And you'll see the ship in the background. So he is about to take this journey. And it's kind of giving the message that, you know, each part of the journey is important, especially that first step. And that's where he's at. You know, he's just ready to really embark on this journey. So, in the Sevenfold Mystery, You really, you know, you can feel the movement and the peacefulness there. Very beautiful. Now let's see what the Thoth says. This is different. Okay, let's take a look first here. So we have the 6 swords meeting together very precisely at one center point here. So you can see the balance and the clarity and the focus. Now his keyword is science. So when the mind is at that point of focus and balance and clarity, then those inspirations that we talked about earlier, that flash of inspiration can come in with new thought, and something you might find on the journey, a new journey, and of inspiration, information, and what he's calling science. Now in the Vision Quest, very simple, it says clarity. Okay, let's take a look at the cups, and let's see here. So we have, it appears that it's, maybe an older child giving some flowers to a younger child. And you'll see this throughout many of the cards, the idea of children, bringing in the thoughts like of memory. And I really like that they're using flowers, because many of the cards do this, because you think about flowers and fragrance, and how often do fragrances kind of put us in mind of something that we've experienced in the past. So here in the Tarot of Dreams, you see the 2 children, and their eyes are sort of like looking off, in other words, giving the idea that they're in a memory perhaps, and you see all the fragrant flowers there. It's very beautiful. So we have Sun in Scorpio. That's kind of unusual. When I think of the Sun in Scorpio, I think more of passion or enjoyment. But I could see where the Sun is bringing light to the shadowy parts, maybe the shadowy parts of our memory. So that would be another way to read that. Now keep in mind, in the 5 of Cups, if you remember, that was a card of loss and letting go what we no longer need. So now we're kind of remembering very fondly those things from the past. So that's interesting. In the Wild Unknown, it's bringing a little bit of the idea of nurture as well, because you see the roots all they're just full of life and liveliness, being nurtured by the earth and the water in the earth there. The Hezekos, children playing at the beach. And this is the Victorian Romantic. Again, the children enjoying themselves. Okay, let's look at the Ludi Lescott. So we have, so kind of creepy looking, right? This little clown boy. And he's crying. So here we have a situation that I feel that he's trying to right a wrong that he has committed at one time. He knows that something is out of balance, and he wants to give, and he wants to, make things right. It's just such an unusual take on the card. This is very beautiful. This is from the Sevenfold Mystery, and I like it so very much. This woman is taking care of her garden, and at each step of step of growth, she's nurturing and taking care of the garden. So beautiful. Now let's see. Okay, in the Thoth deck, his keyword is pleasure, and now that does make sense to me with the Sun in Scorpio. And in same thing in the Vision Quest, pleasure, and you can see it looks lush and kind of sensual. Very beautiful. So I guess that's it for the 6s, everybody. I hope you're having a very pleasurable month, and I will see you all soon. Bye now.